What's going on, guys? Hope you guys are doing well. I got a chance the past couple days to play with both of the two new tanker specializations side by side, the critical cover and the convoy, and I've compiled some clips that kind of show the pros and the cons of these two new specializations. So I thought I would go do a quick run through on what I'm seeing with these two new perks that we have with the tanker class. Now be sure to make sure to go into the customization page right before you load out into your tanker screen and go into your tanker class and go down and equip these specializations, because they're not going to equip themselves, and there's no real like load up page for the tanker class except by going really through the customization part right here. So make sure you go through this. This is the Y button on the Xbox, and then when you go through the customization, you see the options to change your tank and the skins on your tank, and then you could go up to the part where your tanker is, and then you can equip that. Now for starters, the first one that you get to unlock for the tanks for the memories challenge, the basic version one, is critical cover, and that one being the first one to unlock and considered under the most basic one to get out of the tanker class, I think actually is the best out of all of them as of right now. The ability to deploy smoke, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated things in the game. Probably one of the top ones up there, just off of the top of my head right there. Smoke is such a huge thing, and having it in the tank is a pretty big deal as well. Now there are some tanks that you can deploy smoke on, so that is pretty nice, but the tanks that I have used in the past never had that option, and so I always kind of went with those tanks just because I like the different options in those tanks. However, though, you know, I always would think that, man, it would be nice if I had a little bit of an option to play smoke here, and now that I'm able to do that, that is definitely pretty awesome. What I find really big about it is, especially when you're dealing with AT rocket guns, those are ones that can usually, you know, be, you know, the number one thing that can kind of take you out, and you'll find yourself in situations where, you know, you get hit by AT rocket gun, you get disabled, and then you're quickly deploying smoke, and then you're quickly able to, you know, use your your quick repair, and then move yourself out of that situation with the smoke giving you cover. I found a situation on Pre-Stated Tour where that was happening, and I was getting overwhelmed by enemy players, but I was able to get the smoke to deploy, and then that was able to, you know, give me my critical cover that I needed, and just get myself out of the way. And so definitely big on that, especially for the AT rocket guns. If you're especially using maybe a not as heavily armored type of tank like the light tank, and you don't have maybe that emergency repair as well that you get on heavy tanks, or maybe different variants of the light tanks. For instance, for me, my favorite out of the light tanks is the flanker tank, and I like just how the cannon is to take out infantry players, and I like the ability to lay mines on that. But sometimes I kind of wish I'd go just to the howitzer tank, because I have that critical, you know, that fast emergency repair that I can get. And so sometimes I've been torn between that, but having the critical cover kind of is a little bit, you know, of a help, you could say, to get me out just enough where I can get out of fire enough. Where even if I do, you know, emergency repair, I'm still not out in the open for everyone to, you know, bombard me with their AT rocket guns. So that's what I was noticing the most for what I had been experiencing the past couple days with both of these specializations equipped. When it comes to the specific one, critical cover, that's basically what I've been noticing the most. So it's those AT rocket guns when they're coming across the map, and when they are causing your tracks to be disabled, that just gives you enough cover and throws them off just enough. It can't really tell where they're at, and you'd be surprised too, even when you're playing against regular tanks that do have smoke in them already equipped, that there are situations where I've even noticed it's kind of sometimes hard to hit them when you can kind of lose them in the midst of the smoke there. And so this is very much the exact same thing. Now I do want to mention, and something you should be warned about, that it does seem like it does not disable, the smoke doesn't deploy every single time your tractor is disabled. I had a couple times where I was like, okay, I'm disabled, I can't move, and there's no smoke being deployed. It seems like it has to be where you're being disabled at a very low area of health. So I've noticed that a couple times already, where my health was probably around like 50 or something like that, and I got disabled, but my smoke didn't didn't deploy. But when my health is all the way down to like 10 and I get disabled, that's when it seems like the smoke is deploying. So yeah, just keep a heads up on that. I'm not sure what to deal with that about. I do know there is like a 45-second cooldown on it, so I did factor that in when the smoke wasn't deploying the couple times it had happened to me. But again, it seemed like it was only for situations where my health is completely low. So do weigh that out when you are using this, and don't just expect for that to always just deploy. I'm not sure if that's a bug or if they had an intention to go do that, but as of right now, from what I'm experiencing, unless your health is really low, that's the only time the deploy the smoke is going to deploy for you. So yeah, just keep a heads up on that. Now let me talk a little bit about the second specialization, the Convoy, and let me just go straight into what I don't like about it, and that is there's no information on my screen at all to let me know if I'm actually healing my teammate or not. And you know, that can kind of, I don't know, deter me from wanting to kind of stick around in certain positions where, you know, if I'm healing myself and he's hurt too, we're probably both like, you know, in a pretty bad situation, and I might want to move my tank in a certain area, maybe around a rock that's there or around a building, but I can't tell if I'm still able to heal him or not, if I make that move or not. So it's just like I don't know, it's really difficult to kind of gauge how effective I am at doing that. So just the fact that there's no information on my screen that pops up that allows me to, you know if I'm helping my teammate out or not, kind of discourages me a little bit from you know, really using this or feeling like I'm making an impact at all. And that's the kind of a big thing. You want to at least make, you know, the user feel like he's actually doing something in regards to these type of team play things. You know, when you're healing someone or you're repairing a vehicle or you know, with your repair tool, you know, or you're resupplying people, you see, you know, your resupply points pop up. Something like that I think would be pretty nice, just not just for the points, but just for the information to know that I'm actually having my teammate in that 10-meter radius, and you know, and to, you know, try to maximize that little 10-meter radius that you have as much as you can. Because like I said, if you're hurt and your teammate's hurt, then you're probably in a pretty sketchy situation, and yeah, you just want to try to, you know, maximize that 10-meter radius as much as you can, if you're able to at all. So, but next to that, I would say that as I was playing with this specialization equipped, that I was just, you know, playing naturally as you know, the way I've always played with my tanker class, and you know, was just trying to see if, you know, when the moment would arise, would I have to repair myself, and my teammate would be hurt next to me, and I would be repairing him as well too. So those situations didn't really come up, you know, unlike what was happening with critical cover, where there was multiple situations where I saw it pop up and it would help me out. Again, their intent on the Turning Tides patch notes was stating that they did, you know, we're looking for, you know, you to basically make a conscious effort to kind of work together in a group, you know, staying close together with tanks. So it does take a little bit of a conscious effort to go do this, but for the most part, I wasn't really experiencing that because I'm just kind of playing naturally. If we were next to each other, you know, great. If we weren't, you know, then there's nothing I was going to do about it. So that's what I was kind of noticing, that it wasn't really popping up that much, the option for it to happen. So kind of do have to kind of play a bit differently if you really want to utilize this new specialization, in my opinion. And if you're, you know, not the type of person to kind of maybe be around tanks as much when you're in the tank, or, you know, if you kind of maybe want to separate yourself from the tanks, that this specialization might not be anywhere near anything as impactful at all. So again, for the most part, it seemed like the critical cover was, you know, being more utilized in my gameplay than the Convoy. So it'll be interesting to see coming up here how maybe other tankers you know, apply this in their gameplay. If we see more tankers working closer together, what that's going to mean for the gameplay coming up here in the future in Battlefield. But that's yet to be seen. I haven't seen too much of that, but feel free to let me know down in the comments below if you've had a chance to unlock this, or if maybe you have an idea of how you would approach using either of these new specializations. I would be curious to see maybe what people's strat will be in regards to these new perks that we have in Battlefield 1. But that's it for you guys today, though. I appreciate you guys being here. I am Livin', and I will catch you guys again later. Peace.